G'day plant friends and welcome to Scott Grows an Avocado Tree. Many people have come to me with their avocado questions looking for advice about how to keep their avocado trees healthy or to look for a solution to a problem with their avocado tree. Most of these problems, the source of this problem can be summarized in 3 words. They're improperly watered. Now when I say improperly watered, I either mean they are getting too much water too frequently or not enough water. Now why is even watering or proper watering important? Well, if you give your tree too much water, it's actually going to encourage root rot, and root rot I've discussed on this channel in depth. There's a link there. And it's a condition that happens in your trees or plants. It happens not just avocado trees, when an organism eats away at its roots, and that organism thrives in an environment that is low on oxygen and has got high moisture levels, just like poorly draining soil. If you don't let your soil drain, it's going to encourage that root rot to happen. That's going to cause the roots of the tree to stop functioning. It's going to cause the tree to droop, drop leaves because it just can't support that. Conversely, underwatering your tree is actually going to show similar symptoms. Your roots aren't going to draw enough water up to support all of the tissue or leaves and branches in that tree, and so you're going to see leaves droop and fall off. So how do we know when to water an avocado tree? If we leave it too long, we're going to lose leaves. If we don't leave it long enough, we're going to leave our soil being waterlogged, which is going to cause root rot. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how I water my avocado trees that are in containers. Now, the same principles apply to avocados that are planted in the ground, but I'm not going to be touching on those in detail today. So let's look at a tree that is ready for watering.
We'll have a look at this tree, for example. Now, you'll notice that it's looking very droopy. And when I put the moisture meter in, it's showing that it is very dry. I can test by lifting the pot. Compared to when it is properly watered, it is very light. So it's light, it's telling me that the soil is dry and the leaves are very droopy. And the reason why the leaves are droopy is because it has transpired lots of the water that's within all these cells, keeping it turgid or taut, keeping it inflated almost, and it's taken it out and is using the reserve water that's in the cells here. It needs to always be transpiring water, and I made a video. There's a link in the card just there if you'd like to look into more of the reason why plants droop when they get dry and why they refill themselves, how they unwilt when they get watered. So this tree, because it is dry, because it is droopy, it's telling me that it's ready to be watered.
So I know it's ready because it started to wilt. Now, it started to wilt because it stopped taking water from the soil, which tells me that the soil has dried, or possibly that there's something wrong with the roots. So I don't just go on wilting alone. I knew that the container was lighter than when I first watered it. If you're not super familiar with your trees, this is going to be harder to tell. And so the most sophisticated and reliable method is using your moisture meter or your finger if you don't have one. But I do recommend getting a moisture meter to test the moisture levels of your soil. Once it's dry, you may water. Now I'm going to water this tree. I'm going to bottom water it. Now, bottom watering is a strategy for watering where the pot soaks up the water from underneath. And the reason why we might use that, there are a few reasons, but the main one that I use is because it prevents fungus gnats from breeding. Fungus gnats need moist top layers of soil to lay their eggs for larvae to grow, and so by leaving that layer of soil dry, it's going to prevent them breeding. Fungus gnats are those little annoying flies which fly around your soil, your pots. You might see them jumping around, really annoying to get rid of. Bottom watering can help to manage them. And so to do that, I'm going to get a sink and fill it with water. Now, this water is looking brown and gross. That's because it's come from my fish tank. I've just done a water change. I cleaned out the filter, and so it's full of this beautiful fish poo. Now, that might seem gross, but plants love fish poo. Fish poo is full of nitrogen, and so what I've got here is essentially homemade fertilizer. You don't need to make your own fertilizer or keep fish to keep avocado trees, of course, but this is something that I do from time to time. I like to bottom water with that fish water. So I'm just going to put the tree into the water. I don't want the water to be too deep. If it's too deep, well, it's going to then flood up and moisten that top layer of soil, which I don't want. So I want to give it a few centimeters between the top of the soil and the top of the water. I'm going to give it a minute now. I'm going to let it soak up that water, and then I'm going to drain it in the sink next to it. I'm going to get another plant ready to water as well. Once it's drained, I can return it to a sunny spot indoors or a partially shaded spot outside. But for this one, I'm actually going to capture a time lapse of what happens to a tree once it's been watered, and it is really, really cool. Let's watch. Very cool. But what if you want to top water your plant? Well, I know that some people don't like to bottom water their plants. That's okay, I do, but I'll show you how to top water your tree as well. Well, it's very simple actually. You just need to put water in the top of the plant. I use a watering can, and you want to give it a good amount, let it drain out. Once it's drained, it can go back as well. Now, it's a good idea if you don't have a fish tank, and even if you do have a fish tank, it's a good idea to use a broad spectrum fertilizer every so often. I would use one every 3 or 4 waterings, probably, maybe a little bit more frequently during the summertime when they're doing more growing. And that's to support their health as well. Avocados, as do other plants, need different nutrients to be able to grow cells and to be healthy. And you need to support that growth, especially if they're in containers, because there's no natural way of them replenishing their nutrients in there. So every 3 or 4 waterings, perhaps more frequently in the summer when they're doing more growth, I will fertilize them with a broad spectrum fertilizer. Don't fertilize every week. Every 3 or 4 waterings will be fine. If you fertilize too frequently, you're going to cause actually some problems with your plants. So just every 3 or 4 waterings monthly, you'll be great. Now, before I finish the video, I should mention that even if you do test that the soil is dry and you use the strategies that we looked at today, it's only going to be effective at supporting your avocado tree's health, preventing root rot and other problems if it's in well-draining soil. And in a pot that drains as well. You don't want to put your avocado tree in a pot that doesn't have any holes. Goodness no. There is a link there where I go into detail about the soil mixture that I use to encourage avocado growth and to have excellently draining soil. But if you've got a well-drained pot with well-draining soil and you're only watering when it is dry, you're going to be golden. So in this video, we've learned to recognize what signs our avocado tree shows when it needs to be watered. It's going to start dripping its leaves, its container is going to be light, and the soil is going to be dry. We've also looked at how to bottom water your trees and top water your trees. We've talked a little bit about fertilizing as well. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed it and you found it helpful in your avocado journeys. If you'd like to see more avocado content, be it avocado growing tips, monitoring avocado trees growing, cooking with avocados, anything at all, please do subscribe to Scott Grows an Avocado Tree and turn on notifications so as to not miss any future uploads. I'd love to know what you thought about this video, so please utilize that like button and let me know what you thought about it as well in the comments below. Thank you once again for watching, and I will see you next time.
Scott grows an avocado tree. Scott grows an avocado tree. Scott grows an avocado tree. Scott grows an avocado tree.